Hey everybody, back again. Here is that lasagna uh, video I've been promising. I actually made this, it's been almost a month and I've been sitting on it. I actually filmed the whole thing. It was like over 2.5 hours, but as you can see, I've got an onion here. I got butter. I tried to get everything that I was gonna use. The olive oil. Um, uh, I think there might have been one or two that I left out, but as you can see, I've got like the Parmesan cheese. I've got like garlic. Now we like to use the minced garlic. Got the mushroom. Uh, got hamburger there. That's like I think about 2 pounds of hamburger, and let's see. I've also got um, some. Let's see, what is that? Italian seasoning? Doing a voiceover here, so I'm trying to remember everything. Barely see it in my screen right now. But I've got, I think that's about 16. Let's see, yeah, 16 ounces of sauce. I didn't use the whole thing, if that's what you're thinking, but I think that's about 16 ounces of tomato sauce. I like Hunt's because you don't have they don't put a bunch of stuff in their sauce. Oregano leaves, onion powder, garlic. Let's see. I might have pointed at basil a second ago. There's salt I had there. Pepper. I keep pointing at stuff. I think I'm repeating myself. Again, this is a voiceover. The original video, the audio sucks so bad. From now on, I think I'm just going to do voiceovers. But of course, the Parmesan cheese, don't worry about the Parmesan cheese. There is no starch in grated Parmesan cheese. I got ricotta. They are a whole milk ricotta. Don't get skin. Don't get anything but whole. And I'm going to mix a little bit of sour cream in it because I don't have quite enough in the container. And I've also have some egg that I'm going to mix with ricotta and sour cream. And there's some shredded mozzarella. I will have to shred some more because that is not nearly enough. I think that's enough to get through, but not enough for the topping, because I sprinkle some in between each layer. And of course, now I'm just going to be chopping the onion into fine bits, and which I'm not somebody that likes onion unless it's cooked just right. If it's on a pizza, I will not eat it because, as a rule, they do not. The only cooking done on an onion on a pizza is just what's done on the oven. I like my onion sauteed till it's nice and caramelized and soft. And so that's the only way I will eat an onion. So as a rule, let's just say it's a lot of work to get me to eat that onion. I don't like it when someone just throws raw onion into like chilies or anything like that. But I'm particular, I guess. Throw some olive oil and some butter. And of course, I'll have to melt that. And then first thing I'm going to do is I am going to throw in that onion that I just got through chopping up. There we go. Get in there. We're going to brown you. You will be soft. Now, I apologize. I don't have like exact measurements for a lot of this stuff. For almost any of this stuff, because I tend to shoot from the hip. I think as I go make new videos from here on out, I'm going to do my best to try to figure out measurements for stuff and put them in. If I make any more, I mean, I've got another one that I've kind of went through. As you see, I salt and pepper. I always salt and pepper my onions while I'm cooking them, and it takes a little time to get it just right. I can still see the timer up there, and see how long this cooks. And then, of course, once it's brown, that's when I throw in the garlic, because I do not like burnt garlic as a rule. So we put that in about the time the onion's about done. And of course, now is the time to introduce the meat. There we go. There's 1 pound, and then I'll be throwing in another pound here, but you won't see it. You'll just see the results. There we go. Now all I do is break it up and brown it. Now this whole process took me about 2.5 hours, I guess, from the beginning of cutting the onion till the time the lasagna was done. That does not include the time it took me to make the noodles. I had to make those noodles. That does take a little bit of time as well, but from what I understand from people that Sue works with, it was worth it. Again, I salt and pepper. Do like to do that a lot. Get that sucker brown. Just got through draining it. This might now I put in the mushroom. I think I'm going to start using instead of canned mushroom for most of this stuff from now on. I think I'm going to start just using. I've gotten to like a mushroom you get in the produce. I've used that for a few things, and of course I put some butter back into it. I think oddly enough, you get grease out of it, put butter. And seems kind of a odd thing to do. I pour the sauce in, and then here soon I will start to season it. Was that I think that's parsley? Is that what that was? Or no, it was Italian seasoning. That's basil. Again, I'm shooting from the hip. I apologize for not having exact measurements. Hopefully you can get an idea how much I'm putting in just by shaking it. Oregano. And I just, I eyeball a lot of stuff. Okay, unless it has directions and I've never cooked it before, I tend to eyeball things. Onion. That's for you people that can't read. And then here's the garlic. Even though we added chopped garlic, I'll add a little bit, another layer. Now this is petite diced tomatoes, a can. I like to add that, a little later. Of course, it's been cooking a while. I don't know if you've paid any attention to the timer on the oven, but gives you an idea how long this has been cooking. Of course, there's a lot of jump cuts in this, so you can't, of course, depend on the time that you're looking at here. Let that steam for a little bit. Time for a little taste. Like to make sure I got the seasoning right, and of course, there's always some tweaking that has to be done. Might need a little red pepper. I try to go light with it. I'm not shaking a lot. I'm just trying to get a little bit out, and then I put a little more basil, a little more parsley. I might not even add. Did I add parsley in the beginning? Not sure. I have to go back and look at that. A little more garlic. And a lot of times you just add stuff that that sounds good. Now this is a Splenda. I don't add the whole packet. I just put maybe about half of it. I try not to go the whole packet because I want to add a touch of sweetness, but we can't add sugar, so. A lot of people seem to like this that Sue works with. They've even asked about making another. Okay, here comes another taste test. Oh, no more pepper. And then if I put pepper, I'll probably put salt. Yep. There we go. And here's where we, I use this as flavoring and thickening. Now I add a little, I add some of it. I don't put the whole bag in at once. I will eventually put the whole bag in, but I just stir this in, get it melted to some degree and incorporated. Then I'll pour some more in, pour the rest in. It helps to thicken it a bit because I do not like runny lasagna. I don't like it when it runs. Yep, there we go. Get in there. But I had a lot of requests about this. Evidently, it went over really well at where Sue works. According to Sue, maybe she was lying to me. I don't know. But this is not a cheap dish to make, sadly. There we go. There's the ricotta. Again, it was if I'd had a full or a half of a container, I'd have been good. But I had a little less than half container. That's why I'm adding sour cream. You'll notice it's natural, not original. You want natural because they don't have a bunch of added stuff to it. So always get natural. Now, I think this cost about $30 for me to make overall. If you take in all the cheeses that we ended up using, because let's face it, there's a lot of cheese in this dish. Okay, so you know, this is not something you're going to want to make all the time. But you know, once in a while, it's nice to have a little luxury item like this. And get myself an egg. Now, if I was making a regular lasagna and I wasn't doing low carb, I'd make a bechamel sauce, something like that. Now I'll start to layer. Okay, I'll divide it up into thirds. I'm going to have 3 layers, layers in total. Same process through each of them. I'll divide that sauce into 3 parts, 1 part for each layer. It'll be the same for everything. And now I'll put some of that mozzarella. I'll end up using all that bag pretty much. And here comes the lasagna noodles I made. Now, it's made from pretty much the same stuff I made the pizza with, the pizza crust, except instead of using 4 ounces of Parmesan, I used 3 ounces, along with, now, if I recall correctly, I think I doubled up the recipe. So I ended up using 16 ounces of mozzarella, and then used a whole package of Parmesan, which is 6. So since it is doubled up, and then let's see, that would mean I used 4 eggs. Now I spread it on 2 pans and bake them for 15 minutes. Okay, there's a video on it you'll have to watch. Now I'm spreading the ricotta sour cream egg mixture, and again I use 1/3 of that on this layer. and then I'll spread it out, cover everything until everything's covered, nice and covered. And I do believe that's going to finish out one set of basically one set of one layer, and then I start the process over again. And then I'll keep doing that. Like I'll do that like a total of two more times. So again, there'll be 3 layers of each. And there I am at the very last layer, spreading out the last of the ricotta sour cream and egg mixture. And what I'm going to end up having to do, since I used up all the mozzarella cheese, I ended up having to shred some more mozzarella. And there I am spreading it on top. I like to get it nice and covered. Again, a lot of cheese in this. Now, the macros might not be perfect on this, I'm sure. And I'm going to be honest. I don't sit there and I don't always sit and think about the macros. I mean, I think about, I'm eating quite a bit of fat with this or whatnot, and I try to add fat to different items. But I don't sit there and dwell upon it. I've been doing this long enough, I guess. I just don't sit and think about it. But there's definitely, aside from the tomato sauce, there's not much in the way of carbs in here. And I think that if you divide this up right, I don't think you're going to have to worry about too many carbs coming out of this. Me being a little obsessive compulsive about getting everything just right on here. Now, it doesn't show it, but I did set the oven for 450 degrees. I do cover this, and I will keep it covered for 45 minutes. After 45 minutes in the oven, I will remove this so it will brown on top. Okay. But I do like to keep foil on it for the first 45 minutes. And popping it in the oven. When that timer's off, then I will take the wrapper off, and of course I've already taken it off. Now I'm just kind of eyeballing it. Probably 10-12 minutes, something like that, maybe more. And if it's not browning fast enough, after that point I usually turn on the broiler to get a little brown on there. And at this point it is done. It looks pretty good to me. And again, it seemed to, according to Sue, it went over well with the people she works with. And I think people were surprised by the lasagna noodles that I had made and how well they ended up working out. Now, hopefully it won't be too hard to follow what I did if you watch. I try to make it as easy as I can, but of course I realize I did not give any specifics, but hopefully you'll give it a shot.